For veil stitch, work on any number of stitches that you like. In this little sample here, I'm working on 10 stitches. The yarn that I'm using is Araucania Ruca, and I'm using size 9 needles. Now this particular stitch or technique of knitting is not hard to do, but it does take some practice. You probably won't get it the first few times that you try, but if you keep at it, you will get it. And basically what you're doing in veil stitch is you are twisting and elongating each of your stitches. So here we go. I just want you to watch a couple stitches before I start talking you through it. Looks tricky, doesn't it? It's not. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into the next stitch on your left needle as if you were going to knit, but you're not going to knit it. You're just going to let it hang out for a while until we're ready to take it off the left needle. The next step is you're going to bring your working yarn between the two needles and to the front of your work. So hold the needles however you like, however's most comfortable, so that you can get your yarn between them. Okay, there's the yarn between the two needles. And you're just going to hold it over top of the left needle, like this. Make sure that your right needle is behind the left needle. So the yarn is in front of the left needle, the right needle is behind it. What you're going to do now is take your yarn over top of the right needle and just hold it in place with your finger. Now you're going to take your yarn under and over the right needle. Now if you look, I'm just going to hold that in place so it doesn't slide off while I'm showing you this. If you look here, you have an X, and the strand that is going this way, this is your stitch that was on the left needle that you started with. So you know, normally when you make a knit stitch, you go in the front leg of that stitch, grab your yarn, and come back through the front leg of that stitch. You're going to be doing the same thing here. The only difference is, of course, that you have taken your yarn between the needles, over top of the left one, over top of the right one, and wrapped it around. So now all you have to do is come back out through the front leg of that stitch. Let me do it again and I'll show you from a different angle what that looks like. So into the next stitch as if to knit, bring the working yarn between your needles and to the front of your work. Over the left needle, over the right needle, and under and over the right needle again. Okay, now look from this angle. Okay, you have 3 strands of yarn here. 1, 2, 3. the third strand of yarn is going to be pulled under the second and the first. So just like this. Strand number 3 is coming under strand number 2 and under strand number 1. And then off the left needle, just like that. In as if to knit. Working yarn comes between the 2 needles, over top of the left needle, over the right needle, under, over the right needle. Now hold this in place with your finger. And you're just going to pull your needle out from the same position as you normally would when you make a regular knit stitch. Here's your stitch. Here's the front leg of that stitch. That's where you're going to come out. Off the left needle. In like you're going to knit. Yarn comes between the needles into the front of the work. Okay, you're making an X here with the yarn. See the X? Yarn goes over, under, over the right needle. Hold in place with your finger and pull the needle through the bottom of your X there. And it helps a little if you give the working yarn a little bit of slack so that you can just pull it through. Let me show you again from the side. Oops. Okay, here you go. Think of it as a sideways U. You're going to be pulling your working yarn under the U. See, that isn't hard. It does take practice. You will get it if you keep trying. And when the light bulb finally clicks, you won't believe that you never understood how to do this. That's how it was for me anyway. Oops, this one's a little tight. There we go. So like I said, you're making a knit stitch, but you're just playing with the yarn a little bit before you do. So here's the front leg of your stitch that you always go into to make a knit stitch. It's still there. Okay, and after you wrap your yarn around the right needle, there's the front leg of that stitch. You're just going to come through that just like you normally would for a regular old knit stitch. Right through. And last time. Yarn comes between the needles to the front of the work, over the left needle, over the right needle, under, over the right needle again, and off the left needle. And that is how to do veil stitch.